You should be receiving my check soon. It'll be a little more than last time. I won some money in a game and figured you could use it. Well, time to turn in. I sure do miss everyone. Love, Archie.
Three weeks later, Sweeney's father receives his son's letter, along with a telegram from the United States War Department. His 25-year-old son, Archie Sweeney, has been killed in action. Due to the swirling confusion of combat, the Army is unable to document the cause of each and every fatality. Because of this, Sweeney's family will never know the details of his final moments.
This generation of Americans has come to realize with a present and personal realization that there is something larger and more important than the life of any individual or of any individual group. Something for which a man will sacrifice and gladly sacrifice not only his pleasures, not only his goods, not only his associations with those he loves, but his life itself.
By early 1943, the number of American casualties in all theaters of war reaches more than 65,000. As Americans are forced to confront the sobering reality of war, reporter Richard Tregaskis's book, Guadalcanal Diary, hits the bestseller list. His raw, unflinching descriptions of the men on the front lines both frightens and captivates the American public, bringing the reality and heroism of the war home to millions of people.
There was a private, first-class Ray Herndon. He was hit badly and said to one of his buddies, "You guys better move out. I'm done for anyhow. I can get 3 or 4 of the bastards." Greensburg, Pennsylvania, Corporal Walter J. Burak, who twice during the night he traversed the exposed crest of the ridge. Good stories of valor.
Back in November of 1942, American naval forces sealed off Guadalcanal, making it impossible for the Japanese to land reinforcements and supplies.
John R. Morrill of Greenville, Tennessee, had been cut off from the rest of the Marines. But somehow, he walked at 8:30 a.m. The Japs made a bayonet charge, but they were beaten back.
Now, in the first week of February 1943, 14 months after Pearl Harbor, Guadalcanal is finally secured. It is America's first major victory on land against the forces of Imperial Japan. And for the first time, the relentless Japanese expansion has been stopped. But the massive two-front war against the Axis powers is still only beginning.
What is the point of being in a war without seeing action? I signed up to fight.
For the past 2 years, Jewish Austrian emigre Jack Werner has been training with the U.S. Army's 7th Division with one goal in mind. Ever since escaping the Nazis' clutches in Vienna, he's wanted a chance to take the fight to Hitler. But the 7th Division is nowhere near any German forces. They're in ships headed north to Alaska. Werner is heading to his first combat against the Japanese. Werner has volunteered to be one of 200 select scouts, part of a covert strike team that will become the opening thrust of a major operation to retake the Alaskan islands of Attu and Kiska. For over a year, the Japanese have occupied these remote frozen islands at the western edge of North America. Their motives, a mystery. Now, intelligence reports that they are building large airstrips on Attu that will allow them to better defend their post-Pearl conquests in the Pacific. Werner and his scout force slip ashore under cover of darkness.
The Japs have no idea that we're here.
March of 1943, the British 8th Army pushes north into Tunisia, while the Americans hammer at the Germans' western flank. In the mountains near El Guitar, American artillery and infantry units, including Scheffel's 39th Regiment, push back a furious German counteroffensive. For the first time, U.S. forces defeat the seasoned German armored units in battle. With no hope of holding their lines, the Germans begin to retreat northward to the ports of Tunis and Bizerta. The now battle-tested Charles Scheffel and the 39th Regiment pursue the enemy along the dusty ridges in northern Tunisia. They hope to catch the retreating Germans before the enemy can dig in.
We're moving along when we stumble on this group of Germans. They have their hands in the air, and they're yelling, "Comrade, comrade." They're just young enlisted men, filthy and scared, and they don't seem like much trouble, so one guy with an automatic rifle and a full clip ought to be enough to guard them. So I call over Kyle Berger and I tell him he's gonna have to take him back to Battalion HQ alone. Kyle Berger comes walking back, and I realize what just happened. He murdered those prisoners.
I put my hand on my gun. I was ready to shoot him. And one of my men said, "Sir, you don't know this, but he's a Jew."
He tells me his parents were killed by Nazis back in Germany. What am I gonna do, send him back to HQ under arrest? Our orders are to push on toward Bizerta, and I need every last man I can get. So we push on.
wind is nearly unbearable. I feel a terrific thrill, just imagining what's to come.
On his first combat mission, Sergeant Jack Werner and the scouts are hiking to a valley at the northern end of Attu Island. Their mission is to prevent the Japanese from retreating once two larger American forces land in the bay and push forward. But the mountainous terrain makes progress difficult.
It's tough going, and the men aren't in great shape. Some are dropping their gear. I see abandoned packs, gas masks, even ammo. Then we get orders to drop our packs and take only one-day rations. Who gives such orders? I keep all of my equipment.
As the strike force reaches the narrowest part of the valley, a thick fog settles over them. Heavy machine gun fire penetrates the fog, pinning them down.
I yell to the guys around me, "You see what those bastards are doing? Let's get up there and give them hell." At first, I don't realize that I'm actually trying to kill men. I can't even see the Japanese.
They were shooting at us, but I never saw one. Face to face, or even maybe a shadow. It was the sudden downpouring of rain. It was misty and nasty and dark.